Hey guys, what's up? It's Abadismal here, and after many hours of collecting the right things and putting them together, I have put into the game all the relevant artifacts of Tamriel into Skyrim that they didn't add into the base game. So here we go. First off, we have Umbra, which I decided to go with classically how it was in Morrowind, a two-handed sword. And I beefed up the base damage to what it should be as far as Umbra goes. And also put the Soul Trap enchantment for 10 seconds on it. That's the highest you could probably do it. We have Veloth's Judgement. This one was from Morrowind, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty badass hammer. This one, I stuck to the lore on most of these also, just a little side note, on basically as far as what the weapons look like and their enchantments. I stayed close as I could to the lore. And we have here the Veloth's Judgment. It burns the target for 30 points, and then it also absorbs 30 points of stamina on hit. The Ice Blade of the Monarch, which I had to rename to Monarch's Ice Blade because the title was too long in this game. Also from Morrowind, one of my favorites that I had to have because I saw they added the Stalrim back in Dragonborn, so I had to make it, and I'm glad they did. And it can freeze the target for 40 points with a chance of paralyzing them for 1 second. It's a 2 or 3 hit sword, really. Volendrung, that was base game. Fang of Haynekhtnamet, one of my favorite daggers that was in Morrowind that I'm surprised they didn't add into the base game. It can take 34 points of shock damage on target and half as much magicka damage. Spellbreaker, this was also base game. Mace of Molag Bal, base game. Wabbajack, base game. Auriel's Bow, which was in Morrowind, re-added into Skyrim when they released the Dragonborn DLC. Chillrend, one of my favorite, not so unique in artifact way, but they had it in an Oblivion and also put it into Skyrim's base game. The Blade of Woe, another one of those, not artifact unique, but unique item, but one of the classic weapons as far as daggers go. Dawnbreaker, this was the first time this weapon actually appeared in the series. Not a very impressive weapon, but nevertheless, it's an artifact. Mehrunes Razor, base game. Goldbrand. I put this together with a blade sword as the weapon, which looks most like the way it did before, and it does 40 points of fire damage. The Ebony Blade, base game. Keening, base game. I was really surprised they actually added this one in compared to the other ones like Goldbrand. Locket of St. Jub, the Dunmer guy who freed Vardenfell of the Cliff Racers. This one was added in by the Dawn Guard DLC. The Staff of Corruption. Not as great in this game, honestly, but it's an artifact. Base game. Augma Infinium. This was also base game. Does pretty much the same thing as it did in Morrowind. Somehow it glitched up for me, and it didn't disappear when I read it, so I just put it in my drawer here. The Necromancer's Amulet, which is an all-around good amulet if you're into mage, like heavily mage-oriented characters. It's a unique artifact. It's been in Morrowind, Oblivion, and now Skyrim, so I consider it an artifact. Sanguine Rose. Not too impressed with it in this game, because you can have a spell that does exactly the same thing this time around. The Staff of Magnus. I was surprised they actually added this into the base game. It does pretty much what it did in Morrowind. Interesting artifact, base game. The Ring of Namira. This was also base game. Warlock's ring. This is the only ring I added back into the game that they didn't add in base game, because it's an all-around interesting ring in Morrowind, so I decided to bring it back. It increases your magic resistance by 23%, and then health regenerates 29% faster. Ring of Hersine. This was base game. The first time we saw this artifact was in the Blood Moon expansion, and I'm glad they re-added it in for those people who love being a werewolf, such as myself. One of the classic artifacts here. Mask of Clavicus Vile. This was also base game. Highly popular because they haven't missed a game with it yet. It's been in Morrowind, Oblivion, and now Skyrim again. The Ebony Mail. Pretty interesting artifact. One of my favorites, really. It was in Morrowind and then now Skyrim base game. The Savior's Hide. Another one of those classic artifacts they did not miss a game with so far. It was in Oblivion, Morrowind, and now Skyrim also again, with similar enchantments. And then lastly, I remade the Lord's Mail from Morrowind. Sadly, I couldn't find a poison resistance necklace to properly, to the lore, put the enchantment on it. So I just went with for now, disease resistance by 72%, health regenerates 28% faster. And that was the best armor I could find that really looked like how it did back in old Morrowind. So, yeah. These are all the artifacts that I consider to be really relevant to the series, that they didn't add some of these back into the game. For now, this was Avidismal, and I'll see you guys next time.